everyone, Jaymes Mansfield here bringing you yet another video. Oh my god, you guys, in today's video, we're playing with dolls again. Now, I saw a couple of you ask me in my comment section how to style a Barbie doll's hair. So I'm going to show you folks today how to get big drag queen hair using a single Barbie doll. Yes, we're not adding any hair whatsoever. We're actually going to take some hair away. Now, I'm using a reproduction doll from 1996. This is a vintage version. I guess it's vintage now since 1996 was years and years and years ago. But she's a reproduction of the doll from the early 1960s. So we're going to transform her today and make big drag queen hair. Because it's a reproduction, so who cares? We do stuff to it. It's not worth anything.
Hey everyone, let's get started. Okay, first things first, I found this reproduction Barbie doll. She is from 1991 and she is Barbie's Wedding Day reproduction. Now the rubber band kind of dissolved over time, so she just has her hair in a permanent ponytail updo. Alright, so I changed her out of that and put her in her nice robe so we can get started on doing her hair. First things first, I'm going to pluck out her bangs because I want her to have a nice clean forehead. And I honestly hate the bangs on these reproduction dolls. They're too thick and you can hardly do anything with them. I recommend going slow with this. Try not to pull out any of the rooting that's in the front of the face. You don't want to ruin the hairline. You just want to pull out those bangs. And the good thing is they're tucked right behind the front rooting of the longer hairs. So it's able to take them out and it won't create like a really obvious hole or anything. You'll just have a nice clean hairline. And once that's done, this is how she should look. Look at that hairline. Gorgeous. And see, no holes from the rooting that we pulled out. All right, let's get started styling her hair. First things first, I'm going to brush through this with a synthetic wig brush. And I'm going to get out any kinks because you want to make sure the hair is nice and untangled before we roller set it. That's right. We're going to roller set this today. There you go. Gorgeous. Just keep brushing through that until we get any kinks out of this hair because she's been in the package since 1991. So be gentle, take your time, and just get out all those kinks. All right. Once that is all detangled, we're going to move on to our next step. Make sure you get the back of the head too. That's important. All right. Let's move on. Okay, taking a straw, this video is sponsored by Qdoba. I'm going to cut up the straw into small little sections, about an inch and a half. They don't need to be any longer than that because you have to make sure you have space on the Barbie's head because remember, her head is very, very small. All right, taking some sections, I'm going to part out the front section and use my comb to make sure I get a nice, even section of hair. We're going to comb through that to get any kinks out, pull it straight up, and under-roll it to create waves. Yes, we are rolling up her hair. I'm rolling that straw roller all the way down to the base of her head to create volume. And using a small sewing pin, I'm going to pin that straw right through down to her skull and make sure it is tightly down to the head. It's like pinning hair into a wig head. You know, make sure that it is nice and tight. The tighter it is, the better your curls are going to be. And we're going to part the side and do the exact same thing. Under roll it. Yeah, we're rolling under for this because you don't want to have it rolling downward. Otherwise, it's going to be flat to the head. And I want volume, so we're going to roll under. Just roll that hair right up and repeat the process. 2 pins on the side. And with this part, be sure not to put the pin too close to the face because you don't want an obvious hole in her face. Make sure it's underneath the wefting of the hair. Repeat that on the other side and we will start to do the back. Yes, just make sure it is all nice and straight and aligned because this is how you get that nice pin-up girly kind of hairstyle. Under-roll that and we will start moving on to the back. Okay, this is how our front section should look. Let's do our back. Yes, make sure those rollers are nice and aligned and tightly down. And pull sections from the back and we're going to go straight downward. Doing the same under roll with the roller to create volume. And just do a row all the way back to the back of the head. Don't worry about using too many of these things. Just cut a lot of them and roll them back and do nice thin sections. Because you don't want them to be too thick, otherwise they will not curl. All right, once that is all rolled up, it's time to move on to our next step. We are going to heat set this. I'm using a clothing steamer on a high setting. And since this doll is, a reproduction, I don't mind using direct heat on the face. But if you're doing a custom doll, I'd probably recommend doing the hair first because it's going to be a long, tedious process. And the last thing you want to do is screw up your face with heat and take all your paint off and have to redo it or repair it. It's like getting yourself done at a salon. Like they always do your hair first, then your makeup. You don't know what could go wrong. And I went over this with a steamer for about a solid 5.5 minutes. Just making sure it is nice and hot to the touch. All right, I let that air dry overnight, and I'm going to take these rollers down. There we go. Look how fabulous they are. They're staying erect on their own. So cool. All right, going to remove every single pin, and be careful if you're younger if you're doing this because you don't want to hurt your fingers. And just carefully remove all of those. And make sure you don't leave any rollers or pins left in the doll. And just slowly take that hair down. Look at that ringlet curl. Yes! gorgeous. I love Barbie doll hair. I wish I was this clever when I was younger, honestly. I would have had dolls with gorgeous hair all the time. I would have never roughed up my Barbie dolls or had them going bald because I overdid their hair. Did anyone else have dolls that looked like that? I always had Barbie dolls with bald spots because I overbrushed their hair. But look at this girl. She is gorgeous. Like a 90s supermodel with those big old ringlet curls. But we aren't done yet. This is a good way to stop, but I want to go a lot further. We're going to style this. We're going to brush out those curls. Ugh, so ravishing. I'm going to brush out her curls, and for some folks, this look would be enough. Like, it's a nice wavy style, flat to the head, and this is also a perfect place to stop. Just finger style it and get the way you like it. It's nice and voluminous and pretty, but I'm going to go a step beyond. We're going to take our teasing comb, and we're going to separate sections again, and we're going to back comb that all the way down. It also helps to use a little bit of hairspray. That way, you can get the hair to go down easier because it is string after all. It's not actual fibers they use for wigs. It's, string they use for Barbie doll hair. So you gotta be careful with it. But it will tease down. That's the one good thing about the fibers they use for these old 90s dolls is you can do a lot of really fun, kooky hairstyles with them. And just back comb that all the way down, almost like we're doing a proper back comb they teach you in beauty school, going back in rows and then French lacing it. With Barbie dolls, you can get as rough or as precise as you want because, again, it's such a small canvas you're working with that doesn't really matter. I like to be a little more precise because I like to display them and I take pride in the hairstyles I do. Personally, I love these vintage recreation dolls. Like, honestly, I feel like a lot of people crap on them because they have no real, core value like a vintage Barbie doll does, but they are beautiful. And in my eyes, I think they're actually a lot prettier than the vintage ones. Like, the technology got advanced so much since the 60s. And if you look at these things, they are well crafted. They have lots of hair. And you can do a whole lot with them and you don't have to worry about it because they're mass produced. I love them because, they're dirt cheap. And if you want to express your creativity with them, you totally can because, honestly, they aren't worth a whole lot. Honestly, this one on eBay I got for $13 with free shipping in the box. Brand new. I mean, I get the whole appeal of collector's value, but I think these dolls are so gorgeous and I'd rather display them over a vintage one any day. I mean, those older dolls, some of them be looking busted. All right, once I have it all teased out, you can probably tell a little bit, I'm just gonna French lace the hair together, which is just taking the ends of the teasing and combining them gently with more teasing. And I saved the front sections for last because I'm gonna gently tease those and combine it with the rest of the hair because you don't wanna over tease the front because if you do and you can't go back from it, it's gonna ruin the entire project. All right, once that's French laced and she looks like she stuck her hand in the socket, we're gonna start going through with our smoothing brush and smooth out our hair. Check that out, gorgeous. All right, taking our smoothing brush, let's smooth through that and just hit the surface level of the hair to get nice and smoothed out. Now for the brush and comb out, I'm going through the mixture of my smoothing brush and my rat tail comb, re-teasing, combing through it to smooth it out, smoothing it over with the smoothing brush. It's just a mixture of all of those tools and all of these in order to get the hair the way we want it. Since she has that fun tawny auburn color, I want to have fun with this, and I was inspired by the likes of Ann Margret and Raquel Welch. I want to do a combination of their hairstyles, where Raquel Welch had those gigantic, big bouffant hairstyles in the 60s and 70s, and Ann Margret always had those nice classic waves with a little bit of volume in them. So gorgeous. I wanted to give this doll a combination of that. And I also found an enchanted evening dress that was missing the rosette on the side, so I decided to alter it and make it shorter. So she's going to be gorgeous by the time this doll is finished. A nice little pink dress to complement her red hair. Fun fact, beauty magazines in the 1960s and 50s always said that redheads should never wear pink because it looks awful on them. But if you look at old pictures, Ann Margret wore pink all the time and she looks stunning in it. And if you brush out some of your teasing, don't be afraid to go back in with a teasing brush and just freshen that teasing right back up. Once you've done that, just smooth it right back out and finger style it. It's all really, really simple. And with this, just remember the magic formula for styling hair like this and getting good curls is making sure your rollers are nice and tight and use a good high heat setting. It's string after all. If you have tight rollers, you won't have to worry about it. Your curls will bounce back. And remember, it is a Barbie doll, so you can grip this hair all you want. It's string. It's not like wig fibers. You can be a little rougher with it. You just have to be careful about the style you want to protect. It's like a combination of strengths, just knowing your own strength and not going too hard or too rough. I remember back in the 90s, back when KB Toys was around. Y'all remember that? I remember holiday seasons, they always released these around New Year's and Christmas, these reproduction dolls. And I remember begging my mom to buy me one. She never would. The Solo and the Spotlight one, they always released. And they're so beautiful. And I always loved the way these vintage dolls' faces look. They're so gorgeous. And just, it was torture having to walk past those dolls and know I couldn't get them. Being a gay boy in the 90s, we had to be clever to get Barbie dolls. I remember I actually would trade girls in the neighborhood for their Barbie dolls. I remember there was a tomboy girl in our neighborhood named Beth, and she wanted me to trade her for a Barbie doll. So I traded 2 of my dragonflies, you know, those like boy versions of the Sky Dancers, for one of her Barbie dolls. And girl, I did not regret this decision whatsoever. Come to think of it, it wasn't even a Barbie doll. Like, it was one of her friends. It was like Teresa, the brunette one, in a purple princess dress. Girl, I loved that doll. Even though she had molded shoes on, you couldn't put high heels on her. I would just pretend, sis. And this is so silly. I remember this, like when I was way younger, I had Barbie dolls and I used to hide them because I wasn't allowed to have them. So my older sister, when she was mad at me because I broke the bike chain on her bike, like I popped it off, but she could have easily popped it back on. She was being dramatic. She took some of my Barbie dolls and ripped the heads off of them and put them inside of a drawer for me to find later. And when I found them and she was there to see it, I had to sit there and act like I wasn't upset. But I was devastated. But being the clever gay that I was, I would take that headless Barbie and she became a villain for the rest of my Barbies, you know? Turn a negative into a positive. You know, that's part of being the youngest in the family. And I've been smoothing this whole time and hairspraying it just to add security and finger molding it, kind of smashing the hair in place until I get it to lay the way I want it to. It's string after all, so you don't really have to work that hard with it. And just spray it with lots and lots of hairspray. A wet spray works best. And then go over it with like a glue spray if you can. Otherwise, like a wet hairspray like a Tresemme will be just fine. And once the front is pristine, we're going to go and flip the doll over and do the back. Make sure your back looks good too. Because, you know, you have to like look good on all angles. And just go over that and make sure everything is nice and smooth. Everything's laying just the way you want it. And I think she is done. Yes, she looks gorgeous. Let's see the final result. Just a bit of last minute primping and there we go. Look at her. She cute or whatever.
Welcome back. This is the final result. Oh my God. She is gorgeous. Look at how big her hair is. Just the hair that was included with the doll, honestly. This is fab-tabulous. Now, when I was a little kid, I always wanted Barbie dolls that had big, gigantic hair like this, and I had no idea how to do it. I ruined a lot of Barbie dolls in the process, but I think I've perfected it. And using some techniques that I learned from other YouTubers, I feel like I've really perfected how to get beautiful, bouffant, drag queen styled hair on Barbie dolls. Now, if you enjoyed this, let me know and I'll do some more doll content. It's so great being a part of the doll community. Watch out, Hexgen. Just kidding. Love you, girl. Now, Barbie doesn't need this, but for me, grooming can be an absolute drag. So thankfully, I have Manscaped. Use my code Mansfield for 20% off your purchase, plus free shipping. Thanks, Barbie. Anyways, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bye.
Click here and watch me get ready for the circle. Or watch the best Invisible Man review you'll ever see. Come on, click it. You know you want to. If you don't click it, I'll rip all of your Barbies' heads off and blame it on the dog. Yes, I am still mad about that. I will never forgive her. I mean, just click it.